In the hundreds of hours I've put into Oblivion over the past 16 years, I feel like I've done everything. I've made a stealth archer, I've made, But the one thing I always avoided was becoming a vampire. Sure, you get a few cool abilities, but the trade-off of cooking alive in sunlight and being attacked on sight if you don't feed for too long never really appealed to me. Until now. I decided to find out what it's like to be a vampire in Oblivion, but because of how the YouTube algorithm works, we're gonna call this one Can You Beat the Elder Scrolls IV Oblivion as a Vampire? Our journey begins with the standard intro cutscene. The world is ending, this guard is freakishly tall, all the normal stuff. For my character, I made a Dark Elf. I made this decision for two reasons. 1. Dark Elves have an innate 50% resistance to fire, which will hopefully counteract the weakness to fire you get as a vampire. 2. They are objectively the best race in the whole franchise, and I don't need to explain why. I named my character Huel, gave him the signature juggy blue hair, and set off. You can't start as a vampire, so I have to wait until after the tutorial for this run to really start.
You. I've seen you. Let me see your face. You are the one from my dreams.
I chose the sign of the steed so I can run faster and spend the least amount of time possible in the sun. The Emperor gives me the Amulet of Kings, tells me only I can save the world.
Close shut the jaws of the Elder Scrolls IV Oblivion.
Yo, that's the game I'm in, I love when they do that. And promptly dies. Boris tries to guess what class I am.
I'm guessing you're an experienced agent. Am I right?
I tell him I'm not actually an agent, I'm a vampire. And he doesn't find that weird at all.
I wasn't far off.
Here's the skills I chose, but if you know anything about the Oblivion leveling system, you know these are mostly irrelevant. Then I ran through the sewers and finished the tutorial. I want to become a vampire as soon as possible, and the vampire den closest to the spawn is Memorial Cave. So I went there and let the first vampire in there hit me until she transferred her disease to me. Then I killed her and took her swanky armor for myself. The next step of the vampiric transformation process is to sleep for a few days. So I went to the Merchant's Inn in the Imperial City and paid his price of 20 gold a night. Then I slept in the room for 3 days. I had this dream that we've all had at some point and became a vampire for real. There's 4 stages of vampirism in Oblivion, and to reach the maximum level, you just need to not feed on anyone for a few days. The wiki says 3, but I slept in this room for about a week and nothing happened. So, I fed on this guy to reset the timer, thinking that would help. Slept in this room for about another week, and became a stage 4 vampire, and the game can finally begin. Also, I only paid 20 gold to this guy, and I slept in this hotel for like a month. This is the real fantasy aspect of this game. I'm also going to mention, before we go any further, I'm going to feed as little as possible, because that's how you get all the cool powers, and if you feed constantly, this is barely different to a normal Oblivion playthrough. I leave my buy one get 30 nights free hotel, and this lady makes a comment about my appearance.
Have you been well recently? Your skin looks a bit... Oh.
I'm sure that won't get repeated very often. And besides, I think I look pretty good. Now we're gonna start the main quest. I go to Waynham Priory, I give the amulet to Joffrey.
By the 9! This is the Amulet of Kings.
And he sends me to Kvatch.
Now it seems that this illegitimate son is the heir to the Septim throne. His name is Martin. You must go to Kvatch and find him at once.
This dude on the way up won't talk to me because I'm a vampire.
Get back, you filthy beast! I'll have nothing to do with the likes of you!
Is that racist? I don't know. Maybe. Luckily, Savlian Madius is a bit more tolerant of my people. Thank you, Savlian. Being a vampire has some benefits. This health drain spell is pretty cool. Plus 20 to most of my stats is also pretty cool. Combine both of those with being level 1, and I run through most of the enemies in this area pretty easily. I then head into the gate and tell this guy to go help Savlian. Closing the gate is the easy part of this quest, so I want more people to help reclaim the city afterwards. This guy Menion told me to grab the sigil stone to destroy the gate. Also, just climb out, bro. The cage is basically a ladder and there isn't even a roof. Either way, over in the sigil keep, I was fighting this guy, but then the guy behind him just vanished. I could still wait, which means that he must have died somehow. I closed the gate. Menion didn't teleport to the overworld afterwards like non-Daedra is supposed to, so this is either a developer oversight, or Menion is a Daedric illusion and Mehrunes Dagon wants me to know how to close gates because it's his plan to lose the invasion in the first place and have the Emperor without the Septim's Dragonblood take the throne. Either way, when I came out of the portal, I started taking some pretty bad sun damage. Looks dark outside to me, but my health is going down, so I can't really argue. It just means I'm gonna have to clear out this courtyard pretty quickly. Aw, the guy from the gate is dead already, and a friendly fire too. Damn. After the area was clear, I went inside and my save corrupted. So I had to close the gate again. Nothing too different happened. This Tremora scout was just sitting here, and I got to fight that missing guy from before. Clearing out the courtyard, I decided to use a bow, and I accidentally friendly fired someone, and it just so happened to be the same guy from the gate who died to friendly fire before. That was just his destiny or something, man. That was some Harry Potter Time Turner Final Destination stuff right there. Inside the chapel, I'm just gonna rest to replenish some health before moving on.
You sleep rather soundly for a murderer.
Moving on. I tell Martin the deal and he's like, cool. Then I tell Savlian to start the siege. He gets everyone hyped up.
Stick close and keep your eyes open. Let's move out!
And we go outside to take the city back from the Daedra. Only I'm taking sun damage, so I went inside and waited 11 hours. Then I went to fight the Daedra. I'm sure no one will mind. I cleared a few of them out, and Savlian got stuck here and refused to move or talk. This really is the Oblivion experience. Go get the guardhouse key from this guy, and cleared out the rest of Kvatch. Me and the boys got to the courtyard, and one of the most Oblivion things that could happen, happened.
Can't you settle this peacefully? What's going on? Someone's been murdered!
After whatever that was, I went inside, made my way to the Count's bedroom, got his ring, and gave it to Savlian.
At least this is safe.
Now I need to bring Martin back to Waynon Priory.
Help! You must help! They're killing everyone at Waynon Priory. I was in the sheepfold when they attacked.
And I quickly melted in the sun. I loaded back and rushed into the church to save Joffrey this time. In here, I hit Martin a few times by mistake, and he was pretty upset. Joffrey told me the Amulet of Kings was stolen, so I went to check and burned alive again. Upon actually reaching there, yeah, that thing is gone. But we still have Uriel Septim's heir, and we must get him to the safety of Cloud Ruler Temple in Bruma immediately. But first, I'm gonna sleep here for 11 hours. But 11 wasn't enough because I was still being steamed by the sun outside, so we can wait another hour. Not like we're in a rush. Joffrey was very upset by my lack of gumption and Austin powers his horse in retaliation. Very immature of you, Joffrey. After we made up, the gang was off. Here at Cloud Ruler Temple, Martin gave a speech.
I didn't care for Avatar 2. It insisted upon itself.
So true. So true. And Joffrey gave me my next task. Go see what Boris is up to.
Boris may have learned something about the assassins.
Boris is drinking in the Imperial City, and he says he's getting followed by this guy in the corner.
That guy in the corner behind me will follow me. You follow him. What brings you here?
The news from Anvil is terrible. Have you heard about the attack on the chapel there?
The servants of Dibella, slaughtered on the very altar of love. Truly shocking.
No!
Yes.
Good day.
Good day.
We go into the back, kill the stalker, take this book off his body, and Boris tells me to take it to Tarmina in the Arcane University.
Supposed to be an expert on Daedric cults.
She says go find all 4 copies of Menkar Cameron's commentaries on the Mysterium Xarxes. To do this, I need to get to the Market District, which is where issues begin for me.
Feeding time is over, vampire.
As a stage 4 vampire, the city guards attack you on sight, and they just want you dead. You can't go to jail or anything. So I'm holed up in the Arcane University. It's daytime outside. I can't wait because enemies are nearby, and I can't surrender. I don't have my invisibility power to hide, and the Market District is 3 districts away. I can try and make a run for it, but I burn up like a meteorite trying to enter Earth's atmosphere. This is quite the situation. But, lucky for me, this game is broken as hell. I pickpocketed both the L, and she was so mad that she took her clothes off and attacked me. I apologized to her, then I apologized to Tarmina, and the guards just stopped pursuing. For some reason. So I was allowed to wait until nighttime, and then I could try and make a run for the Market District. Also, I killed this guy for making me go through all that. The rest of the city guards still hate me, so I fled the city. I spent the night in this cool abandoned fort outside town, and upon my return, people were still mad, so I used my invisibility to sneak into the bookstore. And of course, they aren't open at this time, so I just need to wait until they are open. But because I'm trespassing, I need to manually wait in the basement for a few hours. After the place opens up, I emerge from the basement and...
You won't get any of my blood! Get away from me!
Ah, well, that's what the vampire seduction spell is for.
Get back, you filthy beast! I have nothing to do with the likes of you!
Oh. There isn't a way to get him to talk to you. Charm spells don't do anything because their racism against vampires overrules their disposition. You can steal the book, but in order for it to spawn into the game, you need to speak to this guy. So no, you can't do the entire game as a stage 4 vampire, but we're still gonna soldier on. Back to the Merchant's Inn to feed on Nilphys O'Melian again. New challenge. Can you beat Oblivion as a vampire only feeding on Nilphys O'Melian? Bet no one's done that one before. Now with my hunger satiated, the guards are happy to arrest me for that guy I killed. Active murderer is more approachable than vampire who wants to visit a bookstore, apparently. I go back to the bookstore, get told that somebody else is buying the book I want.
Already paid for by another customer. Sorry.
Then that person comes in, so I ask them for the book, and they say,
Yes, of course.
He also tells me about the meeting he was going to go to get the other book. The meeting is in the sewers, and Boris wants to show me the way there because he knows that part of the sewers well.
Let's go. I know that part of the sewers well.
See? Boris, can we please walk a little faster? In here, Boris wants to go into the meeting.
I've trained for this kind of thing my whole life.
I say, no, I'll do it.
Very well, we'll do it your way.
The meeting is just this guy giving us the book, and before we could even get the book, Boris got caught.
I told you to come alone! Brothers, kill them!
I told him I should have been the one to not go in the meeting and I could hide up there. What was he thinking? Anyway, we had to kill everybody here and take the book by force. Now with all 4 books, I can take them to the Arcane University and get the secret message that lays within deciphered. While waiting for Tarmina to crack the code, I had that dream about getting buried alive that we've all had at some point, and she tells me where to go.
Green Emperor Way, where tower touches midday sun.
Unfortunately for me, I have to go there during the day. When I finally did make it there, I got my quest updated, and I had to leave quickly and didn't even get time to look at this cool glowing map of Brazil or whatever it was before I had to rush back to the palace. The Mythic Dawn clubhouse is at Lake Arius Caverns, so I'll head to Shadenhall and make my way up there. At the caverns, this guy asks for all my possessions, and in return, I get this cool red robe. A fair trade if I've ever seen one. He takes me to Mankar Cameron, who flees into the sun. Then I take their book, and everyone gets very upset with me. The guy who took all my gear is the main priority, so I rush him down and use my demoralize power. Then I rush him down again to kill him and get my stuff back. I remember other playthroughs of this game having a lot more enemies in this room though. Turns out 4 of them got crushed by this big Mehrunes Dagon statue falling on them. Cool. Now I just need to get out of here. Everyone here ran away from me after getting hit with an arrow.
You are weak like the gods you pray. Run away!
Except for this guy. He didn't even conjure his armor and he took way more shots to kill than anyone else. He's like one of those guys on PCP who turn into the Hulk and become impervious to pain. And then stealth killed his whole room of people. And I'm out. But wait, no, it's daytime. Go back. Back in Cloud Ruler Temple, Martin says that he can read the scary book.
I know some ways to protect myself from its evil power.
And he tells me Joffrey needs help tracking down some spies in the area. Captain Stefan conveniently spied some spies near a runestone at dusk. It's nice to have an objective that has to be done at night for once. I go to the runestone and snipe the first 2 people I see without even attempting to confirm if they were spies. Look at that headshot too. The gods wouldn't have allowed that arrow to land so cleanly if you weren't evil. Over in Castle Bruma, I walk in on some sort of congregation, and Bird won't speak to me. I don't know if he's racist against dark elves or vampires, or both, but I do feed again here, much to everyone's dismay. Also, the man I fed on just seemed to duplicate himself after my arrest. I tell Bird about the spy, go to his house. And in the basement there's a parchment with his orders on it. Mission done. In the 5 minutes it took to do that mission, Martin has made some progress on the Mysterium Xerxes. He tells me I need to get a Daedric artifact. The Daedric artifacts in this game are some of the cooler quests with the most unique rewards, like the Skull of Corruption, which duplicates targeted character, the Skeleton Key, which is an unbreakable lockpick. The only issue is the artifact will be destroyed when I give it to Martin. However, I'm going to get Azura's Star, because the whole quest is in a cave and I don't care about the artifact at all. So I run over to the shrine.
Travel to the gutted mine. The door will open to you. Bring the piece of death to my followers, and you shall earn my gratitude.
And it's just a mission to clear out a cave full of vampires. I go back to Azura afterward and she gives me the star. Then I give it to Martin. And that's it, that's the whole thing. Next, Joffrey wants me to help Captain Bird close an Oblivion gate outside Bruma. The man who racially profiled me a few days ago now needs my help, and he's all compliments now.
Since we had the hero of Kvatch available,
I go into the gate with him and a few of his best and brightest men in order to teach them how to close a gate, and of course they die to a plant before even making it to the tower. Bruma's doomed. However, Bird and I made it to the tower, and he is using all of his racist energy to cut through any and all Daedra in our way. We reach the top of the tower, and it's nice that locking technology is exactly the same in the Plains of Oblivion. This Dremora in the Sigil Keep didn't even have a weapon equipped. There were a few in his inventory, but he was just making his own challenge run videos, I suppose. We close the gate, he says thank you, and I rush to the closest building before the sun evaporates me. Hello, stable owner. Do you mind if I sit in this chair in your home for 12 hours? Thank you. Back in the temple, Joffrey tells me to do the Allies for Bruma quest. I will not be doing the Allies for Bruma quest. The quest I will be doing is the one for Martin. We need to get the blood of a divine, and Martin thinks that we can get some from Tiber Septim's armor in Sancre Tor. Joffrey gives me the key, and I set off on the long journey there. Okay, I'm here. I head inside and I'm met with ghosts. Luckily, my bow was the right kind for shooting ghosts, and I have no issues killing all. Side note, how annoying would it be to be an immortal ghost and get killed by an arrow you don't even see coming? Millions of years you could have spent hanging out in Sancre Tor, just gone. Further into the place, I find out that in order to get the armor, I need to kill 4 blade skeletons and meet their ghosts in the final room. Arrows bounce off them, but still do full damage, which is kinda weird. The ghost in this skeleton tells me that the only way to get the armor is to allow them to all combine their chi to dispel the Underking's curse. So after they're all freed, they all make their way over to this cursed door or whatever, and they open it up for me. Then I walk in and grab the armor. Give me more indoor quests where I don't need to worry about melting alive. These are great. I take it back to Martin, and he makes the joke a lot more based than I thought he would.
The blades are as touchy as priests about relics of Tiber Septim, it seems.
Then he tells me one more piece of the puzzle to get into Makar's paradise, and it surely will never be another fetch quest.
But a great Welkin stone will not be easy to come by. There is only one place that is rumoured to still contain one. The ruins of the Ayleid city of Miskarkand.
Okay. So I go to Miskarkand. A goblin on the way had a problem with me. Then it turned out that he actually had a problem with my horse and not me. And that's more offensive in my world. Inside Miskarkand, I seem to have arrived just as the war between the goblins and the skeletons kicked off. I guess they were all living in peace until I got here. I like how the skeleton skull hangs in the air and the body gets blasted backwards like they're getting hit by a train or something. This dungeon is pretty long and it has a lot of zombies in it, but after a while I make my way to the end and I get the Great Welkin Stone. This awakens the king. 2 zombies teleport behind me too, but luckily I have this cool area damage staff. Upon my return to Cloud Ruler Temple and burning up a little upon re-entry, Joffrey and Martin are arguing in the main hall. Then he says that the last fetch quest is to get a great sigil stone from a great gate that we allow the Mythic Dawn to open outside Bruma. However, we just need to convince the Countess of Bruma to allow for a great gate to be opened outside Bruma. Hello, I would like to open a great gate outside Bruma.
Martin would risk my whole city to gain a great sigil stone? Very well.
We walk to meet Martin in the temple because walking to Cloud Ruler Temple will be just awful. I walk with Martin through the streets where both of the Oblivion voice actors cheer us on.
Huzzah! Huzzah for the Emperor!
There's no time to waste, so I rush to the side of the gate and, where's Martin? I'll wait an hour for him, maybe he got caught in traffic or something. No? Alright, I'll go back for him. You okay, Joffrey? Martin finally shows up, fashionably late, makes his speech to the boys.
We must kill whatever comes out of that gate.
And the fight begins. Very nice of the Daedra to wait until everybody was ready. I say ready, some of these guys didn't even bring a weapon. They also aren't moving. After a minute or two, the Great Gate finally opens and I leave Bruma in these guys' capable hands. They're capable, empty hands. In this gate, I can't just wait for an hour to heal to full like most of the time, so this gate actually poses a few problems for me. I skip opening this gate and almost die to these guys for it. Luckily, inside the tower I can get a few more stealth kills, and this goes back to just being a normal Oblivion gate. Here's a guy getting crushed by this cool trap. Couple more Daedra, get to the Sigil Keep, and get the Great Sigil Stone. I wish Oblivion gates were a little more exciting. After the gate closes and I'm kicked out, I grab this cool looking bowling ball off the ground and I go talk to Martin. I'm also burning to death again. I barely make it to that lady's house from earlier and silently sit in her chair for another 12 hours. Back in Cloud Ruler Temple, Martin performs the ritual so I can enter paradise to get the amulet. The sun in here doesn't seem to affect me, so it must just be the one back in Nirn. I'm kinda like Superman on Earth if his superpower was melting alive. Mankar Cameron monologues a bit over his magical intercom, and then I meet up with this nice man. I need his help to get into the Forbidden Grotto, and I can either help him or kill him to get in.
Would you confront me in battle, or offer me service?
He tells me his friend is stuck in a cave and that I need to save him. In the cave, these guys who are presumably in the Mythic Dawn beg me to not let him out.
Stop! Don't let Anaxes out!
So naturally, I let him out.
Get away from there! Oh!
Then I go back to Cathatet for my reward, and I kill him anyway, because I thought that was the best way for nobody to be happy. These bands that let me into the Forbidden Grotto also give a further 50% weakness to fire. On top of being a vampire, any fire damage would have just made me fully combust on the spot. But because I'm a based Dark Elf, I go from flammable to inflammable. Here in the grotto...
Have you been well recently? Your skin looks a bit... off.
Please,
no!
This guy in the grotto wants to squad up to take my bands off so we can go kill Cameron together. And he helps me chop through a few Daedra on our way to the exit. After escaping the grotto, the only thing left to do in paradise is kill Mankar Cameron. Oh yeah, she's the one who died in the, I guess you'd call it a workplace accident. And I have no idea where I've seen this guy before. Whoever they are, they take me into Mankar's house and... this is it? This is paradise? I just sit in this cold room all day? Where are the video games? Where do you watch Family Guy YouTube shorts? This paradise is boring as hell.
I have waited a long time for you, champion of old Tamriel. You came for the amulet? Take it then!
Let's get this!
That was a bit abrupt, I wanted to talk a little more. In this boss fight I tried killing his ads, but they respawned, so I just died. Then on a second attempt we were having a cool magic duel, and then I just died again, they respawned again, I didn't learn anything. And then on my third attempt, the most Oblivion final boss fight of all time, I take the amulet off his body, the place implodes, and I'm sent back to Cloud Ruler Temple. Martin is pretty happy that we got the amulet back, and he wants to go party in the Imperial City. Over here in the Imperial Palace. Okay. Martin appears to be stuck in traffic again. When he finally does show up, this guy comes in to spoil our meeting. Then a couple Daedra come in to spoil the meeting with the guy who came there to spoil the initial meeting. There's Daedra in the streets too. We clear them all out and then Martin lays out our plans.
I need to get to the Temple of the One. It's our only chance to stop Mehrunes Dagon.
Yes, sir. Let's move out!
Yeah, this is a good angle for conversation. Boris unfortunately got hit by a stray bullet. That just seems to always happen in these group battles. Anyway, Mehrunes Dagon shows up. And Martin says, let's go to the Temple of the One anyway. And I just run for it, but I make sure to give Mehrunes a couple swipes on the way past, because you never know. Then, with just a sliver of health remaining, I make it inside with Martin, and the final showdown can begin. And just like that, Mehrunes Dagon is defeated and the final cutscene plays.
The amulet is shattered. Dagon is defeated. With the dragon's blood and the amulet of kings, we have sealed the gates of Oblivion forever. When the next Elder Scroll is written, you shall be its scribe. The shape of the future, the fate of the Empire. These things now belong to you.
And then I died of the goddamn sun damage straight after. Come on. So I go back, but before the cutscene this time I have to heal. But I have no potions, so I'm just gonna have to use my heal minor wounds. Alright Martin, I know we're in a bit of a rush, but I need a second. I can't cast spells during the cutscene. Yeah, go, pray a bit, that's a good idea. We could use anything we can get. Then I'll watch it all again because it can't be skipped.
What do you mean? Gone?
What do you mean, what do I mean? He's gone. Can we hurry this up? There's literally steam coming off me as the sun is evaporating my body. After he was done, I ran to the nearest building to shield me from the sun's rays, and I executed the guy who laid within for no reason. And I beat the Elder Scrolls IV Oblivion as a vampire. Hey editor, please do a really nice end card here for me. If you enjoyed the video, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and that's all I guess. See ya.